So that's all for the watch list. So we can go ahead and get into. I saw the TV glow. Pull out my notes. Took some notes.
Yeah. My little man was really geared up for this.
I had a lot. So me and Carl watched it Friday night, and we both liked it. But on first watch, I gave it a 4. I don't know what. I know you don't use Letterboxd, but
we got in the car immediately after watching the movie. We got in the car, and I was like,
I think you said you were hovering around at 3.
I was like 3.5, and then we had this great conversation about the movie, and then like the next day after having like thought about it all night and like during the day, I was like, dude, this thing's like a 4.5, and then we talked about it more, and I was like, dude, the amount of time we're spending talking about TV Glow makes me want to give it a 5. Like I've never not that I've never, but it's been a while since I've enjoyed talking about a movie with someone.
Yeah.
And like wanting to like dissect it and like talk about different aspects of it and what it represents.
And I think the main thing that I love so much about I Saw the TV Glow is there's a lot to love about it, but I think the thing that sticks out to me is how much Jane Schoenbrunn respects her audience.
Yeah.
Their audience, sorry. And it's not common these days to release a movie like this where borderline nothing is explained.
Yeah.
Like borderline everything in the movie is metaphorical and you have to really piece everything together. And I was telling Carl today that there's a lot of people that if a movie leaves too much up to interpretation and doesn't explain what it is, there's a lot of people who are just going to not like the movie and say it was confusing, I don't get it, it was boring, blah, 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 bad. And I used to be like that too, but nowadays I've sort of seen some movies, I've almost looked at them as like puzzles that I have fun trying to figure out. And not every movie is like that or needs to be like that. There's plenty of great movies that are very straightforward and leave nothing up to interpretation. But some movies are like that. And some movies are, like Persona, is like, I look at it as a puzzle that I enjoy trying to decipher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what TV Glow is to me. It's a movie that I enjoyed on first watch. It's not, like, I enjoyed it, I'd say, a good bit more than something like Persona on first watch. Just because it's just more kind of my style, I guess, visually and, like, music-wise.
Yeah.
It's more modern. It's more up my alley with the neon lights and the cinematography and the music and the score. But I wanted to know more about it. I noticed some things. I put some things together, but there was a lot that I was like, dude, what the fuck was that about? And me and Carl just, like, we didn't want to talk about it too much because we wanted to save most of it for the scoop. But we did discuss, like, one thing that, just discussing that one thing made Carl like the movie a lot more.
Yeah.
And connect a lot more dots.
Yeah.
So I have notes that are kind of just, like, all over the place. They aren't in order. So I'll try to, I have so much I want to say, because on second watch, I noticed a lot more, and a lot more connected for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so much I want to talk about that I'm hoping I can get it all out in like a cohesive way. But where do you want to start here?
You want to start with the easy stuff first?
Like just easy compliments on what's good about it?
Yeah, like for me, like the score and the soundtrack, fantastic.
Yep. Score by Alex G. Homie.
Score by Alex G.
The soundtrack's by like 15 different people, but every single song is so different but also feels right.
Yeah.
Like it's not a repetitive soundtrack. Every song has a different flair to it, but they all fit into this world.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to nothing but the I Saw the TV Glow soundtrack for 2 days now. And I could go watch it again right now.
Yeah.
If we weren't recording this, that may be what I'm doing right now, is watching I Saw the TV Glow again. And that would be 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
So I'm very fond of this movie.
fond of the glow.
Yeah. And I think it's impressive how they made a movie that so much is about like gender identity and people like us who don't struggle with that at all are still finding so much to connect with.
Yeah.
With the movie. That's insanely impressive to me.
It's wildly inclusive with like the messages that it's relaying to people.
Right.
And I think I would rewatch it more, but I do think that it is, for me, it's a heartbreaking movie. And I don't always want to be sad. And I don't want to feel terrible. So I would, like, you asked me if I wanted to like watch it again the next day, and I was like, I need a second. Yeah. I need a break.
Yeah. It is a sad movie. It's not a sad movie in the way that like some are, where it's like cry porn. There's never a point in the movie where I cry. It's just this this lurking sense of melancholy over the whole.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on. Over the whole movie. Yeah. Especially in the second half, it gets more and more like just very depressing.
Yeah.
And very sad.
Yeah.
And I love the characters so much, specifically Owen. I love Owen as a character, and I love Justice Smith's performance, and I don't know why there's people critiquing it. I don't know. Did they watch a different movie than me? You know what? So far, it's one of my favorite performances of the year.
You know what I think it is I think that when people have to portray like awkwardness, that it can come off as like bad acting, because people talk shit about Kristen Stewart for Twilight a bunch. And like she was like, that's what they want. They told me to do. They told me to be awkward and weird. Yeah. And that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I think that.
And if you watch an interview with Justice Smith, he's not like that at all. Like he's a normal guy.
Yeah. So I think like his performance can, like, people will see it and be like, oh, he's weird and stiff and awkward. But that's who his character is.
Right. And he's also doing kind of a weird voice.
He is doing a weird voice.
And at times it can be a little funny when he says certain lines. Like there's a scene where he's driving and something's in the road and he stops and he goes, "What the heck?" Yeah. And in his like voice, it's not supposed to be funny, but it's kind of the way he says it. Like, I guess I see where people are coming from, because certain lines can come across like kind of funny, but I don't think that means it's a bad performance. That's just the voice he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
and then I laughed when he got out of the car after that and he goes, "Hello?" I was like, why is that your reaction?
Yeah. Yeah, the cinematography is great. Obviously, the color palette and the neon stuff. The scene where there's like marker getting written on the screen, one of the best scenes in the movie, by the way.
Makes me come.
All that stuff obviously looks great, but even just like the shot structure, I love. I was telling Carl, the scene where he's grocery shopping. Yeah. Why did that go so hard? Why did she frame it like that? It looks awesome. Dude. Like he's in the very bottom of the frame and you see like the logo up at the top for all the vegetables and like just little things like that. Even outside of the obvious stuff, it just looks great. Yeah. Like I just love the way the movie's composed.
Yeah. One of my favorite shots in the movie is he works Noah, the main character, he works at or Owen, sorry, the main character, he works at an arcade / like movie theater thing. Mm-hmm. And at one point it's, I suppose, early morning, and he's in there and he's like there's all these like foam pads on the floor. Mm-hmm. And he's in there, it's pitch black, and there's like a skylight like out of frame up at the top of the room. Yeah. And it's casting down this like bluish spotlight glow on him. Mm-hmm. And it just, dude, it looks so good.
The lighting throughout the whole movie is something you can like kind of take for granted. Yeah. You're like, oh, they're watching a show. Of course it's reflecting off. Yeah. Like, it's reflecting onto their faces, but it's not how TVs work. Like they're getting very specific lighting to execute that shot, and it looks so good all the time.
They did that with World's Fair too. The World's Fair video, when she plays it, the main character plays it, it flashes these lights on her face, and like it changes like the colors of her face. It's one of the coolest effects in the movie.
The lighting in both movies are like really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
So, general just praise, like non-spoiler praise. I think that's about all we can say. The technical aspects are great. I love the performances, score, soundtrack, cinematography, themes. I raised it on second watch. I raised it up to a 4.5, and I think if I watched it again, it would probably be a 5.
Yeah,
I probably will watch it again fairly soon, because I don't know. It's a sad movie, but it's also like in a weird way a comforting movie. So I don't really have that like thing that you have where you don't want to watch it because it'll make you sad. It's like, it is sad, and it does have sort of a depressing ending, but
yeah, that's kind of interesting that you, because I don't get the comfort aspect of it.
I don't know.
Yeah, some yeah. I just have the sad part. I wish I had the comfort part.
Yeah,
I want someone to wrap me up in a nice hug, but I'm not feeling that, dude.
Right. So, okay, where to begin for spoilers? Spoiler thoughts. I guess I can give sort of my overall thoughts on what's going on in this here movie.
Yeah. I feel like we were pretty close with our first conversation. I don't think we were too far off.
Yeah. So, my take on this movie is that the show is just the show that we see at the end when Owen's watching it as an old man and it's kids and it's not scary at all. I think that's what the show is, and that's what the show always has been.
Yeah.
And Owen and Maddie and everybody who watches the show, when they're kids, they're inserting themselves into the show. Mm-hmm. They're replacing the characters in the show with themselves. So Tara, in the show, Maddie thinks of Tara as herself. Mm-hmm. And Owen thinks of Isabel as himself because that's who he wants to be.
Yeah.
And he gets comfort from watching the show because it feels like he's expressing himself and he is who he wants to be in the show. And there's a lot that little things that you can pick up on that, you know, align with that. Obviously, him wearing the dress.
Yeah.
Later in the movie, Maddie, when she's like giving her monologue in the school, she calls Owen Isabel.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, she was talking so fast, I don't know if I really, like, put that together first watch. But she's just, like, straight up calling him Isabel.
Yeah.
In the second half of the movie, which I think connects a lot of that for me. So I think a big idea of the movie is, like, how we insert ourselves into media and turn it into something that it isn't.
Yeah.
Because we find solace in it. And I just think that's kind of an interesting idea because the people who are watching this movie are the type of people that watch a lot of media.
Yeah.
And like, media is something that's really important to me. And if I'm having a bad day, I can put on the Dark Knight trilogy and, like, instantly make my day better. Because those movies really connect with me, and yeah. I guess in a way you could say I like put myself into those movies. So
you are Batman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you want to give any thoughts on that?
No, I agree with that. I think that I do think that there is like a sub layer of the feelings that you have when you're younger being more amplified than as you get older. Like, you're a lot more creative and outspoken, and things hurt you more and things bring you more joy than what things normally would and when you're older in life. So I think there's a certain aspect of that too. Like, you know, they're mesmerized by the show when they're young and still trying to figure things out, but once they're old and they've kind of tying things in, but after Owen's been boxed into what his life is instead of what he wants it to be, he's kind of becomes, I think he's like becoming numb a little bit to like those feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I said it earlier, but I think when Owen's watching the show, he feels like himself. And then when the show ends, he loses that feeling of freedom and expression. And that's what sends him down this like path of depression and going through the motions of life. Like when it says 8 years later and when we pick up where he's at, I think that's like an effect of the show ending and him feeling like he has disappeared now.
Yeah.
And like he's living someone else's life. I've got talking about that 8 years later thing, when he's working at the fun factory or
Fun Zone.
Yeah, his job at the Fun Zone is replacing the ball pit with balls.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was like a very on the nose like metaphor for Owen being surrounded by masculinity and being like conformed into what like society wanted him to be, instead of who he is. And he looks so sad doing it too.
Yeah.
So I noticed that, but I thought that was like a fairly obvious one.
Oh yeah. He also like won't make eye contact to any. He doesn't make eye contact. He doesn't connect with any of the male characters that we see, like his dad and his coworkers. Like it's just Maddie. The only two people he's ever connected with is Maddie and his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't really think about that until you pointed it out, but yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
And Marco and Polo, the two people in the show.
That's who it was.
When they're going through like the finale, what happens in the finale episode, Marco and Polo cut out their hearts, which I think is symbolism for Maddie and Owen, and like them having what's inside of them being taken out / suppressed. And it's also sort of a callback to when Owen said it feels like when he thinks about any of that stuff that someone went in and cut everything inside out, and he's too scared to check if it's there. Yeah.
Which is a heartbreaking, like when he says it, like his expression when he's saying it, like I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
That
kind of made me want to tear up.
Yeah,
when he said that.
That brought me close.
Right. I also noticed when Owen is young and he's at the school talking to Maddie, there's 2 drink machines, and Owen goes and sits under the drink machine. There's one standard, just black drink machine that's in every school, and then there's one that's super bright pink.
Yeah, and like the Tropicana one.
It's
some juice drink.
The title of that drink machine is Fruitopia.
Oh.
So I thought that was like another instance of hammering home this idea of Owen. I guess they never really fully like explain if he wants to be gay or transgender, or I guess they don't really get specific with that.
They don't, but it doesn't like matter, you know. Like,
yeah,
what he wants to be. That what matters is that he's not what he wants to be. You know.
No, I'm just saying like, the idea of him sitting under the drink machine, I feel like makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know if that's like a bad thing to say, but like a lot of gay people are called like fruits.
Yeah.
And fruity and, stuff like that. So that's just something I noticed.
Yeah. What's crazy is I noticed that drink machine and I was like, dude, that drink machine looks cool as shit. And that's all my brain put together on it. I was like, fucking sick ass soda machine, dude.
Yeah. So towards the end of the movie, me and Carl were talking about it on the way home, and we were trying to figure out what the ending means. And basically, it's Owen when he's old and he's still working at the Fun Zone, and he has this like panic attack in this party room with all these people, and then he goes in the bathroom and he like opens up his chest and sees all this like all these radio signals and TV glows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back.
And like showing what he's been suppressing all these years. But we were trying to figure out like what the ending meant, and I noticed on first watch that the guy at his first job at the movie theater that's getting a blowjob looks a lot like the guy at the end at the Fun Zone, and me and Carl didn't know for sure. I was just like, I think that was him, and so I was like, so why is that guy the same age and Owen's the only one that's aged? And then I was like, maybe that's because Owen's been like suppressing who he is, so he's like aging faster while everyone else is moving in slow motion.
Yeah.
And then on second watch, I realized that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And Maddie, during her monologue, is talking about how she knew something wasn't right and how her life was moving in fast motion, and it felt like she was skipping chapters, and life was moving slow for everyone else because they were being themselves. They were being who they were, and she wasn't. And I also noticed, like, they also say, Owen also says, and then a month later, the movie theater shut down, but my manager took me with him to the Fun Zone.
Yeah.
So he just says, like, that's the same guy, which
Yeah.
I didn't notice the first time. Like, it's not some fan theory. Like,
Yeah,
it's just, that's the same guy. So it's pretty in your face that, like, that guy looks the exact same and Owen looks 60 for some reason.
It's just, it's a subtle, like, drop of, like, what's going on.
Yeah. And also I feel like Maddie talks about the show like they're basically living in a simulation.
Yeah.
Sort of. And they're living in this, like, world that Mr. Melancholy created to, like, keep them suppressed.
Yes.
And when he freaks out at the Fun Zone, everyone in the room just, like, puts their head down. And it reminded me of, like, something in the Matrix or some kind of simulation that he, like, did something so insane that no one expected. They didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
Because that's not how people react. Like, if that happened in real life, everyone would look at him.
Yeah.
They'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Are you okay? What's going on? The second he yells, they all drop their heads and say nothing and close their eyes.
Yeah.
And that's just, like, a crazy concept to me. And I feel like that's Jane hammering home that idea again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also, too, like, after that, when he is apologizing for his, like, outburst, no one, like, acknowledges it.
Yeah.
Like, they just
It's
continue
so
like
weird.
it never
It's
happened.
so eerie.
Yeah.
Like, hearing him yell like that. I wish I could hear what Owen is yelling, because I don't know what he was saying.
I know a couple times, because he has two outbursts. He's got that one. He's got the one at his house.
No, just in the party room.
I thought he yelled, "This isn't my life."
I can't really tell what he's yelling. He's so upset, and he's, like, slurring his words.
Yeah.
So whenever I get it on Blu-ray, I can put the subtitles on and see for sure. But I thought he was calling out to Maddie and, like, asking her to come get him.
Oh, yeah. I thought, okay. Yeah.
I thought what he was
I thought he
kinda
said
saying.
mommy.
It kind of sounded like that too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I had the subtitles so I could tell for sure. But I just thought that scene was so, like, almost scary, but also just really sad.
Yeah.
And then after that, he goes in the bathroom, does all that, and then walks out and starts apologizing to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie ends. Like, that's the final shot of the movie, is him walking out of the bathroom and, like, apologizing to people and them not even...
Like, not caring at all.
Not acknowledging him at all. which is really sad.
Yeah.
Super fucking sad. Also, I've heard some people, like Alan perhaps, that have said they don't like the fourth wall breaks when he talks to the audience. Which, at first, I was caught off guard by that.
I was too.
Maddie also says, when they're in the bar and she's like confessing everything, and she's like, do you ever feel like your life isn't your life, and that you're like narrating a TV show of your life and you're watching it happen in front of you?
Yeah.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was narrating his life for us like a TV show.
Yeah.
So even the things that like on first watch I didn't fully understand or like, everything on second watch sort of like came full circle, and I was like, that's why they did that.
Yeah. I think
that was a thematic reason.
Yeah, I think it was also just to continue to try and make that like to show like how like fake that is. Like it doesn't feel like real life because it's not what his reality is.
Yeah.
And like he's telling himself, he's narrating his life, he's telling himself to do these things because in his head that's what he has to do. Mm-hmm. Or he's too afraid to do anything different.
It's sort of like what's that term when you like disassociate from yourself? And it feels like you're watching your life in third person.
Oh, I don't know.
Logic has a song about that because he's dealt with it. I can remember the term. But it sounds like that's kind of what he feels like he's going through.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I got here. Yeah, on first watch, I was really confused with what was actually going on between the show and real life. And I noticed that there's a scene where, like, obviously the show is in this, like, 90s videotape 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's really easy to tell whenever you're watching the show because it's grainy and it looks like that. And there's a scene where Isabel in the show, her aspect ratio widens and the quality gets clearer. Like, she's now real. And then Owen's aspect ratio starts shrinking down into the 4:3 90s videotape aspect ratio, like he's becoming part of the show.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was insanity.
Yeah, that's fucking... You're nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Jane, you're fucking nuts. You're absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the chalk messages?
I don't. The only one I remember that stood out to me was the there's still time, and the only thing I could think about that is like there's still time for him to change and accept who he is. Like, I feel like people will kind of get to a point where it's like, I've gone this long, there's no point in doing anything, but like you can. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. My theory is that those were written by Maddie, trying to communicate with him, letting him know, like, it's not too late to transition.
Yeah.
And you can come with me / like come out.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I took it. Because it kind of set this up where, like, I guess the idea is that, I don't know, that Maddie and Owen may, like, connect on this weird, like, plane.
The astral plane.
The astral plane, yeah. I don't know.
I think it's just, like, obviously they're not reading each other's minds, but I think they're connected in a sense that they both feel the same way. Like, they both feel out of place, like they're not, like they were born as not who they're living is not who they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And they both need to, change and become who they want to be. Mm-hmm. And I think Maddie's trying to bring him with her because she knows the agony that he's going to be in if he continues to just push everything down, and the sadness that he's going to feel.
Mm-hmm. Also noticed there's a couple times where they reference being buried alive
Yeah.
in the movie. And that's how the finale of the show ends, with Isabel being buried alive. I think both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them get, like, literally buried alive with dirt. And that's what is happening to Owen and Maddie by them, like, living these other lives.
Yeah.
And being suffocated by that weight of everything being suppressed inside.
Mm. That's also how Maddie said she got back to the show. She paid a guy to bury her alive, which, you know, she's trying to die. Mm-hmm. And she didn't get back to where she wanted to be until she busted out of the coffin. Mm-hmm. And then she was where she wanted to be.
Right. Yep. One thing I noticed was that when Owen's first watching the Pinko Pig as a ninth grader, mm-hmm. seventh grader, he is the light reflecting off the TV is pink, reflecting onto his face, which is obviously the color for females. Mm-hmm. And when he's watching it during the finale, when it ends, the light reflecting off is blue.
Oh.
Which I think was like, when he was a kid and when he was watching it, pink is the feminine color. That's who he wants to be. And that's where he felt like himself. And then when the show ended, that was like his like feminine side sort of dying.
Yeah.
And become like being forced to assume this like masculine identity again.
Yeah. That's a really good catch. That was cool.
Thank you.
I did have a question though, since you've seen it twice. Mr. Melancholy, they say they feed them poison to like
Luna
make them
juice.
the Luna juice, and then that's what sends them into like. Do you think that the Luna juice represents something?
I haven't gotten that deep yet.
Okay.
With a lot of the stuff in the show, I'm not exactly sure. I noticed them cutting out their hearts. I don't know. I mean, the Luna juice could be like media, like the show. I don't know.
The only thing I could think of is that like it's kind of representative of medication, because I feel like we have a tendency to like medicate anyone that's weird and different.
Loony
juice.
That's what they call people in like mental asylums.
Loonies. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's just the first thing I could think of, was that like anytime someone's, you know, different or weird.
Put them on medication.
Yeah, they need to be on something to make them more normal,
that's
instead of just like, no, they're just that's who they are.
Yeah. Sometimes they need to be on medication.
Sometimes,
but most of the time not.
Yeah. Sometimes there's some dangerous folk.
Yeah. Also, while you're bringing it up, the scene with Mr. Melancholy like coming to life was super creepy.
Dude, the effect on his face.
How the fuck did they do that? It looks like stop motion.
I know, it's the
like coolest. The way his skin is like crackling and like
growing and then going
and
back,
retracting.
Oh my god,
it's fucking creepy.
How do you fucking put that up here, dude?
Yeah, how do you explain? Like, if that's in your head, how do you explain that to someone like your costume designers and your set designers? Like, how do you explain that you want that on screen? Dude, and then his eyes being empty, like his eyes and his mouth are just black voids.
Yeah.
It looks so fucking... And then the voice that they used was like really weird too.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the scene's like ending, and he was like, and they don't even know that they're dying. Yeah. And then it fades to black, and then it fades back up, and his mouth is like stretching.
Yeah.
And then it fades to black again. And I was like, what the hell was that? What was that second little thing that you just put in there?
Killing you, dude.
It was creepy as shit though, because it's also like silent.
Yeah.
There's no sound while that's happening. Really unsettling. Really unsettling shit. I'd say that's the only scene in the movie that like creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the Mr. Melancholy scene. But it's nothing like crazy, like Sinister or Hereditary for me. But
Yeah, no.
in terms of this movie, it's the creepiest scene to me.
Yeah.
But I am still trying to figure out Mr. Melancholy and like thematically what he means in the story, connecting, like you said, with the Luna juice and trying to piece all that together.
I feel like Mr. Melancholy is society, because his overall goal is to put the world in permanent night and control the world, and they want everyone to be a certain way and behave a certain way and act a certain way, and I feel like that's what he is. Did you put together that the two dudes when he initially was going to go meet Maddie was Marco and Polo?
Oh, the neighbors?
Yeah.
I didn't.
That's what I assumed.
Oh.
That's what that represented, because it was like the way that was set up when he watched the finale. It seemed like his stepdad was Mr. Melancholy, and then those two guys were Marco Polo.
Yeah, notice like when he walks in on his dad watching TV and he doesn't acknowledge him at all. First of all, that shot's just like really creepy.
Yeah.
Like him, just watching him stare at the TV. But it looked like his face was like had like white powder on it or something.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if it was just a reflection of the TV doing that or if that was like how he actually was looking in that scene. But he kind of looked like how the neighbors looked.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like I don't know what that was about. Like those two neighbors standing there when he walks out of his house. Like I don't really know what was going on there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was weird. I kind of took it as his dad being Mr. Melancholy, and then like when he does have that fit and he like smashes his head into the TV, his dad comes and gets him, and he's not reacting to anything that Owen's saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's like rinsing his head off. He just pulls his head out, and his dad's face is just like a normal face.
Yeah.
And he's screaming like, "You're not my dad. This isn't my life." All these like horrible things, and like then he just like goes back to his room like nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly some of the stuff.
Yeah.
That's so cool that I've seen it twice and I'm still like piecing everything together.
Yeah.
But my big revelation, I came up with a theory.
You've got the Da Vinci Code.
Do you have any ideas about the ice cream truck?
I have no ideas about the ice cream truck.
I have a theory. So I think the ice cream truck represents being basically non-binary. The ice cream man sells ice cream, and he gets sad in the winter because he can't sell ice cream anymore. And then the kids in the show tell him he should also sell soup. Instead of committing to just ice cream, he should do both. And the ice cream truck is green, which is the color that represents non-binary.
Like neutral stuff.
On the trans flag.
Oh,
green
okay.
represents non-binary. So I think that that's what the ice cream truck represents.
So that's crazy. So at the very beginning, the ice cream truck is parked like out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to like the ice cream truck being full of like smoke.
Mm-hmm. Like pink smoke.
Yeah. So like Owen might be like not really falling any which way, and then when he's young, it's got the pink smoke in it, like he's more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Does it pop up again after that?
I know you see it in like sort of like a field area. I remember seeing some like tall grass or something.
Is it on fire at the end?
Like the shot of the soundtrack, like right here. This is like midway through the movie, I think. Early to mid, not towards the end.
For some reason, I feel like it catches on fire at the end.
Well, the TV catches on fire. I don't think it does. I don't think it catches on fire. But I could be wrong. It could have.
No, that's good though. That's a good eye.
I don't know for sure, but
I
that's
didn't even
just
think
kind of
about like connecting the ice cream truck to anything.
because they make such a point of the ice cream man
Of
in
showing
the show.
it, yeah.
So I've been trying to figure out like what he means, and I think that's my best guess.
Yeah. And then it kind of ties in with like the ice cream man being really scary when he was a kid. And like that thought of like being that way is like scary. And then
when he's older, he's like, "Oh, that's not scary at all."
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Also, a small thing, but I didn't really get it. When Owen's like catching us up, and he's talking about, "I'm gonna keep the house, and it's time I become a hardworking citizen," and blah blah blah. And then he says that he has a family now. We just don't see him.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Because it seems like he's still lonely. Like he puts in the new TV, and then he's laying there alone watching streaming.
Yeah, and I think it's just because like he might have like all these things, but he's still suppressing that part of himself that like would fix that.
I just thought it was odd to say that you have a family and then not like reference them at all.
Yeah.
Not show them in any way. Just a little odd, I guess, to me.
Yeah, it seems like they just don't show it. But I do have something else. Speaking of family, when Owen's at the fair or the carnival, whatever it is, with his mom, and she's asking him how he feels because she has a cancer scare. That scene, like by the end of the movie, I feel like that scene is so much more heartbreaking because, like, his mom's the only person that he's really close with. She loves him, and she's like trying her best to connect with him and like find out like how he's feeling and see what's going on with him. And I don't know if he's too scared or if he doesn't want to burden her anymore since she's already, got this cancer stuff going on, but like he's just like dead silent, not really saying anything to her. Mm-hmm. And that's just so sad.
Also, Evan made a note of, he said that he thinks him spitting on the cotton candy was him rejecting masculinity.
Yeah.
Because the ice cream is blue, the cotton candy's blue.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty fucking smart.
Yeah.
I didn't really.
Who picked up on that?
Evan.
What the hell's going on, Evan?
Yeah.
Do you like the movie or do you not like the movie, Evan?
Evan loves the movie.
Oh, which one didn't like it?
Alan.
Oh, shit. Never mind.
Wow.
Evan's the guy. Alan's a goofball. Alan's messing around.
That's crazy disrespectful.
I couldn't remember which one you said.
But yeah, I thought that was a good shout because I think that's definitely what
Hell
that
yeah.
scene
Yeah,
was.
I think he hit the nail on the head with that.
What else did I notice that I wanted to talk about? Oh, I think the scene when he's walking through the school and they're writing with marker on the screen with all the episode titles and little remarks and stuff. I think that scene's awesome.
Yeah, I love it, dude.
I love how it works for the story too, because it's a way of quickly showing like how much time has passed and what Owen's been doing, how him and Maddie have been interacting.
Yeah.
But also giving you like little nuggets about the show, and because the show is also super connected to their story.
Yeah.
So the more you find out about the show, the more you know about them. So I loved that scene with the song and him walking through the school. Yeah. And also the very obvious him walking through school at like a slow pace. And then the second he gets through that hallway with all these bright pink and purple colors, he like speeds up and gets this like jolt in his step.
Yeah.
And he gets way more like energized walking through that section because the feminine colors. And,
There's also people are like walking past him, like not acknowledging him at all. Mm-hmm. And there's a part in that where like there's two goths like sitting on the floor, and he like tries to say hey to him, and they look at him like he's a fucking psycho for even like trying to talk to him. I was like, damn, that's sad, dude.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk to him.
Yeah. Be nice to Owen.
Yeah.
Owen's a nice guy.
Yeah.
More thoughts. You got anything?
I don't think so. I think we talked about it. Oh, I guess we can talk about some stuff I don't understand still is what everything means to Maddie. We talked about that a little bit. But, like, we get I feel like it's pretty clear that Owen is having a hard time figuring out, like, who he is. But it seems like Maddie from pretty early on is pretty open about being a lesbian. At least she was with Owen. Maybe she's not with everyone else. But it seems like she's more okay with who she is than Owen is.
Right.
Or at least understands who she is more than Owen is.
Yeah. You asked me, like, what I didn't like about it, and there's not much, but if I had to pick something, I think it would be, I wish we knew more about Maddie's character and, like, her struggle. Because I was talking about how, I think the movie's about how we insert ourselves into media to help deal with our problems. And other than the line when she says, if my stepdad finds you, he'll break my nose again. I do love that line, and I love how subtly it gives you backstory into her character and her life.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't get really too much insight into who she is and what she's dealing with.
Yeah.
Unless that's just like, we're supposed to assume that's her main problem, is like her home life.
Well, there's one more thing, and I thought about it just now, but it's he asks about that girl she used to hang out with, and she says that she, like, went and told everyone that she tried to touch her boob, and it's pretty clear that Maddie is also, like, a loner and outcast in the school. Mm-hmm. So she's rejected because of her sexuality, it seems.
That's a fair point.
So there's that, and then there's the family problems at home.
Right. I just wish we would have gotten a little more time with her, because she's basically just a teacher character for the narrative. Mm-hmm. She shows Owen all of this stuff and explains everything to Owen. And we know a lot about him and his struggles and what he wants and what he's doing. And I just wish that we knew a little more about her, because it's a little harder to get, like, super connected to her character.
Yeah.
Because she is, like, openly gay, so she doesn't really deal with the thing that Owen's dealing with.
Yeah, the suppression.
Right. And like you said, it seems like Owen's struggling because he hasn't come out, and she's struggling because she has come out.
Yeah. Which
I guess is, like, does make a lot of sense, because people who, that's a big reason why a lot of people are afraid to come out, because they don't want people to treat them like shit.
Yeah.
Because gay people, believe it or not treated the best.
You don't
like,
say.
They're not. That's one of the main, like, arguments for what gay people say when someone says people are born gay. He says, like, gay people are like, why would anyone choose to be born gay when you're choosing to be an outcast and be treated like shit by literally everyone?
Yeah.
No one would choose to do that.
Yeah.
And by the way, not to get political, but this whole you're born gay thing is, like, come on. It's like, I don't want to get political.
Yeah,
but,
I'm
like,
not gonna dive into it. I don't want to.
I'll just say this: I didn't have to decide that I liked women. I just like women. You're just born that way.
Fucking had that dog in you from day one, dude.
That's just say you didn't have to decide, like, let me check true or false for liking men.
All right, let's flip this coin.
Yeah,
see where she lands.
You didn't choose to like women. You just naturally like women. You just see a beautiful woman and you're like, man, she is attractive. You see a beautiful man, jokes aside, you're just like, oh, nice. Like, you're not interested in him. You can respect a fellow attractive man and say, you got it going on, buddy.
Not a fellow attractive man. I'm not an attractive man. I can respect a fellow man who is attractive. Separate myself a little bit from that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not Brad Pitt, dude. I'm down in the pit. I would be I'm a worker class man.
I'm a lot more closer to Pitt than I am Brad. What were we talking about?
Maddie being like outcast because she came out.
Yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense. It makes more sense.
You.
It makes more sense for one person to struggle with coming out and one person to struggle that they have come out and they're dealing with the consequences of it.
Yeah.
Versus just having two people dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
It does make sense. I don't know. I wish maybe they gave it a little more screen time and like fleshed it out a little bit more.
Yeah. And I mean, the movie still doesn't quite tell you that Maddie is openly gay because she denies the allegations she tried to touch her boob.
I mean, probably just because she didn't.
I mean, it could be because she didn't, or like maybe Owen's the only person she's like trusted that to when she says, I like girls.
Yeah. I guess that could be true.
I lean more towards, like, based on her personality, I think she's probably just openly gay. Mm-hmm. But
she doesn't seem like she really gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But she does care a lot about the tit rumor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think high school is the age where like people will tell rumors about other people just to make themselves look cooler. Or if you're hanging out with new people, like cool people, and they're like, "Oh, you used to hang out with her," and you'll like make it sound like you weren't that close and like, "Oh, she's weird. She touched my tit," and all that stuff. I feel like that's just probably what happened.
Yeah.
Was like they drifted apart and her friend started hanging out with different people and like kind of rejected her to make herself seem
cooler, fit in more. Yeah.
To fit in more, yeah. That's just kind of how I saw it. But you're right. I mean, I guess she isn't. I guess they never say she's openly gay. She just assumes that Owen knows that.
Yeah.
Because they're friends. But I love his reaction when she says like, "What about you? Do you like girls?"
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, boys. He's like,
I think I like TV shows.
I think I like TV shows.
Yeah.
That's fucking real, right there.
Dude.
That's fucking.
Just trying to
right
connect
there.
with a fellow human being, dude. Let's calm down. I just want to hang out.
It's like when you go to like a family reunion and they're like, "What? You don't have a girlfriend? Or your uncle or something?"
Oh
like,
God, dude, the asshole uncle.
Man. Yeah,
that's the best.
You're like, I like TV shows. That's what I like.
Yeah.
How about fuck off?
Girlfriend. I'm more of a have a good time kind of guy.
More of save my money and buy movies with it.
More do whatever the fuck I want kind of guy. Dude. I don't need one of those.
I want to talk about it a little bit more, but it has been like 40 minutes of TV Glow Yap, so I don't know if I have much else to say.
Yeah, I feel like we've touched on everything. The only thing that I feel like Mr. Melancholy Society, I don't really know what Marco and Polo are supposed to be. I feel like the way Marco and Polo look is important, though.
Don't they sort of look like moons, half moons?
They look like half. They look like half moons, but they're like they have women bodies, and like then their heads have like beards and like goblin heads. I feel like that's important for some reason.
Right.
But I haven't been able to patch that together. I haven't been able to connect that with anything.
Right.
What Marco and Polo means, I'm not 100% on the Luna juice. I feel like they focused on the fact that their hearts were in an industrial freezer a lot.
That could be like a jab at like, corporate stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I gave it a 4.5. I just think it's so interesting. I love thinking about it, trying to connect all the dots. I think that there's enough there to figure everything out. It just will take a while.
Yeah.
Because I already, a second watch, like, handled a lot of it.
Yeah.
Now I'm just kind of almost nitpicking, like, at everything. But I love the visuals. I love the score. I love the overall vibe of it. And I love what it means. And I feel like even if it's not something like I can fully relate to in terms of its themes, I'm glad that it exists for the people that are going through that. And I feel like it could help a lot of people.
Oh, I'm glad you said something about that, because that's something that I wanted to talk about, was how inclusive it is. For like, the movie, in my opinion, is dealing with a lot of like gender identity problems and struggling with your sexuality. But even if you're not having those problems, I feel like a lot of people can see a movie about, the main idea is about, I could be living a different life that could be better. Mm-hmm. I feel like people have that doubt in them about anything about yourself in life. It could be, I could be like, am I really supposed to be at this job? Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. Am I as happy as I can be? Like,
that scene at the end of him in the fun zone party room, like, that can apply to literally anything.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you chose the wrong job. You feel like you chose the wrong, like, person to marry or something along those lines. Like, you can attach any sort of problem to that scene and really connect with it. Yeah. Just the movie in general, I feel like, can almost, just loneliness can connect you to that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just forget all the gender identity stuff. Just if you're like a lonely person, I feel like you'll be able to connect a lot with it.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, the fact that we don't deal with any of the gender identity problems and still connect with the movie so much is really something to applaud.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because
when I watch a movie about like drugs, like Trainspotting or Requiem for a Dream, I always don't enjoy them. And my review is always, I don't like drug movies. Like, I don't do drugs. I don't relate to that struggle. I don't find it interesting, and I hate watching them.
Yeah.
Like, this could have so easily been that. Like, I don't relate to gender identity problems, so I didn't connect with it very much. Yeah. But that's not at all the experience I have watching it.
Yeah. And it's such a really complicated human emotion, and they've portrayed it in such a creative way. Mm-hmm. And I fucking love shit like that. Anytime you can just take something like loneliness or, some kind of internal struggle and present it in a way that is really creative and fresh, mm-hmm. It always, like, that's fucking awesome. Yeah. That's badass.
Yeah, this has me super excited to see what Jane's got cooking up next. Yeah. Because they obviously have, like, this visual style.
Yes.
With these neon colors. And they always tackle something really deep. Some idea that's really deep. Yeah. And important. And doing it in a interesting way that entertains you at the same time. Yeah. So that's just fucking awesome. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait.
Keep up the good fucking work, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Alex G, keep being the G.
Keep him on the payroll.
keep it rolling, dude.
Yeah. Also, Phoebe Bridgers cameo. Hell yeah. I don't know if you know who that is.
But I don't. Yeah. But I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I trust you. If you say it's Phoebe Bridges, it's Phoebe Bridges.
Bridgers.
Bridgers.
Yeah, she's a singer.
Oh, wait. She was married to someone.
Well, she's dating Bo Burnham.
That's what it was. She's dating Bo Burnham.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's all for TV Glow.